going further into the drugs, alcohol, and the domestic violence, one thing I held on to, steadfast and true, was my education. I loved books. And every summer, my father was a teacher. So every summer he would have off. So he'd take me to the library with him at San Francisco State University. So I learned at a young age to escape through books as well. So as much
Thank
as
God.
Yeah.
Was this an adult that was perpetrating the molestation or another child?
He was 14, so adolescent. Yeah, adolescent who lived in our home with us. My great aunt was. She took them in, felt sorry for the family, and they were strangers to us. And obviously he was in his own pain to turn around and inflict it on me.
Absolutely. Wow. So your dad was there for you, and in maybe not specifically to help with that situation, because it sounds like it went on for a while, but to at least help from the perspective of what you could be spending your time doing otherwise.
So, okay, so you spent time in your life just rebelling and living that horribly destructive existence for a number of years. And then you went back to school, because were you all the while getting your education while you were, oh my God.
I look back now and go, wow. So I really leading a splintered existence. But the psyche does that to protect you.
That's compartmentalizing, yeah?
Yeah. Multitasking.
So here's this part of my life, and here I'm going to get a master's with this part of my life.
Right. That was where I could feel safe. That's where I felt safe, and that's where I excelled, was always on the university campus. I was able to be very honest with my professors, and if I didn't get my papers in on time, I would always tell the truth. I was in a situation last night, and I had some friends who I was going to college with, and I'm still friends with now to this day. We laugh about it because they said they didn't believe me. They thought I was making up stories to not turn in my essays. And I'm like, yeah, you don't make stuff up like that.
So what is one example of something that you told a professor that they let you off the hook because they heard?
Well, I got beat up last night. My boyfriend beat me up. I couldn't do it, and he wouldn't let me out of the house, and I couldn't get to the library. And that was the truth. And with the obvious markings on my face and my body, it was apparent. But I was determined to get my degrees and figure myself out. And
so what were you, just for people who are listening and watching, what did you focus on education wise? What do you do now with it, and how do you use these, the experience that you had in the past to sort of draw from now, and
absolutely,
it's a strength, right?
Right. What I do now is I'm an empowerment counselor. I have a master's degree in counseling psychology and the bachelor's in clinical psych. And I got very interested in spiritual and holistic modalities. So I let go of the MFT and licensed route to be able to do more shamanic and energy healing and laying on of hands and speaking about divinity within yourself and having that daily spiritual practice. So I also incorporate a lot of different certificates in shamanic practicing and Reiki and Pranic healing and so forth in combination with the clinical background. So what I do now is in my practice is I help people overcome emotional pain from their past and share with them the tools. So serving as a guide, really walking side by side with them to give them the tools that they need to go forward and go within, because that's where it begins. I mean, it's not cliche. It really is where it begins.
Right. And if you're so plagued by what's happened in the past, and if it was truly horrible, and you can't get past it, then you can't do anything except for live in that.
Yeah, and truly stay stuck. And not to say that it's not going to show up again in your life, even as you go through therapy and as you go through some kind of counseling and mentorship, because I myself even still, I have these tools, and at times my stuff comes up again, and I'm like, OMG. I thought I dealt with this. Man, I teach this stuff, and here it is again to look at. Yeah.
We're talking now with Maria Sanchez, empowerment counselor, author, Girl from the Hood Gone Good. It's truly remarkable, and how fortunate you are, just as people looking at you now and, just hearing your story, being able to sit and have those tools and to say, okay, hang on a sec, I got to get a grip on this, because, there are things that, just in my life, like, oh, I need to get over this stuff. I just need to sort of, for me, face things, accept them, and then I can kind of move on. They don't ever go away.
Right.
But when you sort of accept things, is that part of the teaching? Is that
Absolutely. Allow the hurt, the fear, the anger, even the shame and the guilt to come up. It has to. You have to sit with it. You have to look at it, process it, and then release it. But to deny it is detrimental to your well-being.
And you talk about self-love
Right.
as part of your workshops and the services that you provide. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, self-love I refer to as, I know our society, when you speak of self-love, they tend to think of it as very narcissistic, egocentric. It's quite the opposite. You have to have self-love to begin that journey to love yourself enough to go inward and say, I love me enough to say, I have a problem. I got maybe a gang of problems. I need to go get help. I need to reach out and put my pride aside, or what society may deem as undesirable, and go reach out for the help that you need. That's self-love.
Mm-hmm.
That's having enough love for yourself to say, I need help, and I need help from someone outside myself.
What would you say, I mean, short of paying you a visit,
Mm-hmm.
what is a place that someone could start who feels like they've got problems and issues or anything that they need to address?
Books are power. Knowledge is power. There's so many self-help books, from Louise Hay, Love Yourself, Heal Your Life, to Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, there's so many. And online, listening to shows like this, going on to the search engines and just putting self-love in, and you'll get a plethora of essays and chats and forums and MP3 downloads. If you are uncomfortable reaching out to a stranger, so to speak, begin with the books, and then online.
And then maybe the next step is reaching out.
Right.
It's the feeling. We were talking about this on last week's show, but not feeling alone.
Exactly.
When people feel alone, they stay in their fear. And I think when you go outside and say, "Oh wow, well look what Anna Maria's been through and where she is now. Maybe I can do this."
Yeah, and that's why I wrote the book. It was cathartic for me as a healing process, but also, if I came out and shared so blatantly about my stuff, then others would feel free and safe.
Mm-hmm.
Safe.
That's it.
To be able to do so. And the book also is part a workbook also, where I provide action steps you can take in the comfort of your own home, in the privacy of your own home, to begin the process. But you have to take action.
How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can go to www.freethelightwithin.com, and they could call me direct as well, 650-804-9816. I'm always available, and I always return the calls.
That's fantastic. We'll also put your link on our website, theladybrainshow.com.
Thank you.
Anna Maria Sanchez, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Don't go away. Coming up, boredom, procrastination, and distractions. 3 things to be avoided in life, or not. Join the conversation at facebook.com/LadyBrain. We'll be right back.
I love the LadyBrain show almost as much as I love the Beastie Boys. Maybe I should reverse that. Every time I hear that song, I want to be like all cool and have street cred and stuff, but I'm just a big goober. Who agrees?
You're. I was trying to find a way to say, no, you're not. But then I was about to say, but you're a badass goober.
Thank you. Anyway, Mike raised his hand, of course, ever the supporting producer.
Did you like the crickets?
No, I timed it that way. Anyway, we're going to talk about boredom, procrastination, and organizing your scripts in a way that you can't read what's really coming up, and distraction. Three things.
The triumvirate.
Jeez, distraction. I mean, please, I have the attention span of a gnat.
Well, then you must be very productive.
I am.
Because this is the argument.
I'm prolific.
You can actually get more done if you're distracted, bored, or procrastinating.
You know, I will say, and I don't know if this is, I mean, I'm going to say I'm a procrastinator. I'm rarely bored. I don't have enough free time to ever be bored. Every moment of my life is filled. I'm often distracted. I'm often trying to multitask. Sometimes I forget because there's so much going on. I've never been busier in my entire life, and I've never been more productive in my entire life.
Multitasking, whole different basket of issues.
But that's part of what my life is, and it's part of how, you know, oh, this is I'm trying to do these two things at once, but look, I'm distracted. Oh, look, a chicken. Remember? I mean, seriously, it's how I roll.
Well, so, you know, every now and then we come across an article or a series of articles that enlightens us in some form or fashion about the way we conduct our business day to day, right? So apparently, Psychology Today, not something I'm flipping through regularly, but every now and then something does
subscribe?
pop up. I don't.
You don't? Oh.
I don't. Apparently, you should find some time for boredom in your life.
I want to be bored.
Because boredom is a stepping stone to bigger and better things. It will help you be more creative. And I actually buy into this idea of if you have nothing to do,
you're going to come up with some stuff, right?
Yeah, so maybe you're just skipping past boredom into creative productivity.
Could be.
That could be.
You know, when like one of the things, it's not boredom by any means, but like when I go for my runs, I'm seldom alone.
actually buy into this idea. If you have nothing to do,
You're going to come up with some stuff, right?
yeah. So maybe you're just skipping past boredom into creative productivity.
Could be.
That could be.
You know, when like one of the things, it's not boredom by any means, but like when I go for my runs, I'm seldom alone.
Apparently, you should find some time for boredom.